If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to rate and review it. Your feedback will greatly impact our ability to reach more people. Thank you.
All right, man. How's it going?
It's good. Almost the end of the year.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to admit I'm tired.
Yeah. It's been a long year. I think.
Yeah, been a long year, long week, long 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are. And look, it's been such a long week that I do feel a little out of touch on stories right now. Okay. It's hard because if you are trying to keep up with actual AI, like the actual advancements in AI, mm-hmm. I'm finding that for me, it's starting to eat away at the time that I would have previously spent trying to stay aware of like news stories and things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's its own hyper fast moving channel.
Yeah.
Of news. It's just it's not interesting enough to put on this show, but like just to try to stay on top of it. And you know,
especially the tools, agents, how people are using them, different, I don't know, hacks or different ways they're using it.
Oh my God. Like the Claude skills paradigm. That's kind of like really, I mean, Claude skills have been around for a couple of months now, but I mean, really in the last 2 weeks, everyone's like, oh, right.
Yeah,
like this is the whole game now. Right. You know, and it's like, everyone's rewriting all their stuff and shifting to all the skills. And then, you know, someone came out with a package that like will put a little SQLite database in place to give Claude Code persistent memory, you know?
Yeah.
It's called Claude Mem.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just like, whew. You know, it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, I appreciate these little checkpoints every week where you remind me.
It forces us to pay attention. Yeah.
Yes. All right, man. With that, let's dig in. Starting with the unemployment numbers, 4.6%. So that is a bigger number than inflation, which we're going to talk about here in a second.
Yeah, it was higher than I think anyone expected, and the highest in several years. I don't know how many years, but maybe back to the pandemic. So it's not a huge number from historical standards, like in the 70s and stuff, but still.
But the trend is bad.
The trend is bad. If you're watching, you can see, but for several months, it's been on a steeper ascent than we would like.
Yeah, for sure. Lower on in this Wall Street Journal article, there is a change in jobs from November 2024, so over the last year. Mm-hmm. And industries that grew, healthcare is in the lead. About 425,000 jobs there. Industries that declined, number one is federal government. About 275,000 jobs. 275,000 jobs lost in the federal government.
Yeah, I think the local government probably is offsetting somewhat, where like people are maybe somehow not working for the feds anymore and getting hired, or there's been the same services are being added. But yes, even with that, it's still a net down by a decent amount.
I mean, local government's up about half of that federal government decline number. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're probably right. State government is also down, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just sort of interesting to see what's driving these, you know, what interests it. And of course, healthcare, you know, holding it down. Healthcare's holding it down, man. Keeping people employed. Okay, inflation eased to 2.7% in a report distorted by the government shutdown. Year-over-year consumer inflation cooled in November from 3% in September. So down to 2.7 overall. Core is 2.6. Certainly sub 3 is good. It should be pretty clear if you're sub 3 and you're trending down, whereas your unemployment is 4.3 and trending up, and month over month for 3 straight months is trending up. It should be pretty clear what your Fed policy should be.
There's nothing foggy about it. it's pretty clear.
Yeah. So I've tried to protect the Fed, but I think these two numbers stacked up next to each other make it pretty clear. Maybe not 25 basis points, maybe 50 basis points would have been more appropriate.
Yeah, or at least say that they're looking at cutting for the next few meetings. They didn't even say that.
No. Well, they couldn't get along. They're divided right now. All right, that's all we got for the economy. Moving into VC, Clarity Pediatrics lands $14.5 million to treat childhood obesity. It's a Series A round led by Jackson Square Ventures. Others included Mass Mutual Catalyst Fund, City Light Capital, Scrub Capital, Gingerbread Capital, on and on and on. Homebrew. Oh, Vamos Ventures. Okay. Rethink Impact. I know a lot of these firms. A lot of them are friends of Mass Mutual, who are friends of ours.
Yeah.
So tell us about this company.
Yeah. So they're a telehealth pediatric company. They've done kind of anxiety, ADHD, a few other things, and they're adding childhood obesity, which I think is laudable. It's great, and also really hard to make meaningful change in, because you have to change your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And changing lifestyle for children means for the parents, and they're not treating the parents. I mean, it's a very complicated endeavor, but I think I'm glad they're working on it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think probably one of the things that feels most ironic about this is, certainly one important element of helping with childhood obesity is getting kids off screens.
Yeah,
and
right.
Of course, this is delivering care through a screen.
Right.
Now, I'm sure though it's a better interaction through a screen than the ones that are keeping them from being active, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
But just shows how weird this world we live in is, right? Leona Health, $14 million seed funding raised for a WhatsApp AI Copilot for doctors. This is a company focused on Latin America. I think it's probably focused globally, because outside the United States, WhatsApp is like a full-on, business platform.
They're starting in Latin America, but I think they have global ambitions.
Yeah. In the time that I spend in Mexico, my whole life is on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much
the whole economy runs on WhatsApp.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so great. And then I come back here and it's like, it doesn't work that way.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of email, and it's actually pretty janky. So this round was led by A16Z, participation from General Catalyst, Acel, Maven Clinic founder and CEO Kate Ryder. For me, what stood out was Rappi co-founder and CEO Simon Borrero. Rappi is like the DoorDash of Latin America. Use it quite a bit, and so that's an all-star team around that table. And interesting to see, A16Z and Gen Catalyst, investing in a healthcare platform primarily focused on Latin America.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the Latin American markets and like how their health system is funded and how it all works, but it's obviously a huge population of people that need healthcare.
Yeah,
so.
I'm still learning about it, so I can't claim to know much. Wearlinq, LINQ, secures $14 million to scale wireless heart monitor. The company also raised $5 million in venture debt funding. So this was a Series A investment led by participation from Springtide, friends of ours, Berkeley Catalyst Fund, Lightscape Partners. Talk a little bit about this one. I mean, this is your passion area, heart disease.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I think we can end heart disease is because there's a lot of treatments, medication, diagnostic tools, and there's more coming out every day. And this is an example of that. It's a 6-lead ECG monitor, continuous monitor for 48 hours. And then the idea is it's stored to your phone, and then you can send that bulk of readings to your doctor.
Seems pretty valuable.
Which is pretty interesting. I don't know exactly what phase of heart failure
you
need it to benefit from, but I think there probably are pieces. Maybe it's maybe around AFib, maybe around something else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it's not a consumer device though. I mean, right? This is a clinical healthcare device. You get sent home from the hospital with this thing, or it gets mailed to you, and then you use it and you probably send it back in, right? I mean, because that's what a lot of these types of devices are.
Yeah, I don't know if there is clarity on how doctors and patients are going to use it yet. They have a lot of aspirational things here. Like if we can save 10% in heart disease deaths, that would be wonderful. But
look, I mean,
I agree with that.
Look, it's the low hanging fruit. There's no question about that. I mean, the heart disease, you can chop off a chunk of the deaths with better detection and better monitoring.
Yes,
and it's the number one killer. So it seems like just an obvious place to pouring money for innovation, and particularly for wearables that extend beyond the clinical theater, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Auxira Health secures $7.8 million for virtual cardiology platform. So this is led by Route 66 and Abundant Venture Partners. I know the Abundant folks.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is much closer to home for me. I mean, this is what I think is needed to really make a difference in heart disease, is screening and catching people early, which I don't know that they're doing. But then if you catch someone at 30, 35, 40 years old and they have early signs of heart disease, they immediately need to be given advice on what to do, how to take care of themselves, how to approach it. And we don't have enough cardiology supply. And so adding to that with this virtual platform, I think is great.
Mm-hmm. Valerie Health raises $30 million in a Series A to bring AI front office to independent provider groups. So this is Redpoint Ventures, a name I haven't heard in a while. They are leading the round as Valerie's embedded AI and human teams cut administrative costs, speed scheduling, and turn lost referrals into patient visits. So simple value proposition, kind of like what ZocDoc, did before the AI era, right?
Yeah. Well, and we have two competitors, Leona Health and Humanate Digital, are both in this space in the front office. So like you need to change your appointment, or you, I don't know, you want to modify something, you have a question. It's a great space and there's plenty of opportunity. So kind of a pretty big Series A raise, but good to see people coming in.
Yeah, and you pick your front office, right? Like what segment of the market are you gonna tackle and specialize for?
Yes.
Right. Going to what would be providers, but this is like that
sort of at the end of VC before we get into the industry.
So Medline went public. Ticker is MDLN, the biggest IPO since 2021, and that seems appropriate. I mean, Medline is not a new company at all.
Right.
Medline is a big company. Most people who know what this company would do but don't know the company know Cardinal Health, for example, and Cardinal is a kind of a primary competitor to Medline. And great to have a really solid healthcare IPO out there in the market from a company that we know is going to be solidly delivering on a regular basis. They raised $6.3 billion in the IPO, and the stock closed 40% up from the $29 IPO price. I think that I think their timing is great, right? Because they're coming in at a point where people are worried about the AI bubble. And this is a really good value buy, right? If you're a little worried about that part of the market,
right?
Grab you some Medline, right? That'll offset that for sure. Yeah,
and it's great to see any IPO come out at that size and have a day one kind of pop like that. It's great. I mean, this was multiple private equity firms in it. And so that's healthy as well. They'll return cash and sort of get the whole process going. Yeah. It's just good all around.
Yeah. Yeah, happy to see how this one turned out. Okay, going into policy. House passes the healthcare affordability bill without subsidy extension. The subsidy is just a no-go for the Republicans. I mean, it's very clear. Yeah. They are willing to go to the mat to make sure that the subsidies do not return.
I think some number of Republicans crossed over to try to get a vote on the subsidies, but there weren't enough, so that didn't even go to a vote.
Yeah.
And they passed sort of a Republican view of how you would modify the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Yeah. So they're basically, kind of changing things around the edges, bringing more market-based things. Mm-hmm. You can have an association of, like companies grouped together to offer healthcare, and then they're adding more ICRA support for, basically kind of a defined contribution. We'll give you this much money to spend. Mm-hmm. And they did not address the subsidies that, of course, are going to end in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the associations don't address the open market.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of small employers.
They're working on employer-funded healthcare, which really has not that much to do with the Affordable Care Act.
No, but as you said, it's a Republican angle, right? I mean,
and you can spin it at home. When they all go back for Christmas, they can say, we are addressing, it's more people in employer-based healthcare. But the main thing that people are upset about, was not addressed.
I mean, honestly, what they did was they addressed employers, because even ICHRA is really an employer-friendly model.
Right.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
HHS moves to cut federal funding from hospitals that provide gender-affirming care to minors. Fierce healthcare, uncomfortable to talk about, and also must discuss because cutting Medicare or Medicaid funding from hospitals that provide gender-affirming care to minors, to me, feels like it will, if this rule goes through, and it's not an immediate rule, it's got to go through a 60-day waiting period, and it's got a pathway to get there. But it does feel to me like if this goes through, it effectively ends gender-affirming care for minors in America, right? I mean, like, you're going to be down to only folks who don't do government pay who are going to be able to do it.
Yeah, which not any hospitals that I know of. I mean, it's very difficult to be a health system today and not have any government pay.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. So this is sort of the big stick that the Trump administration rolled out in the transparency rule, and Trump won. Like, you have to provide your price transparency. And I was a cheerleader for it.
Sure.
And if you get payment from CMS, you must do this. They're using that same kind of big lever now for a much more politically sensitive topic. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's going to be very controversial. And I was surprised. I don't know how many people were expecting this. I was not expecting it. It was out of the blue.
It.
I mean, just
it feels super out of the blue.
Yeah,
I was not expecting it at all.
Right.
When I saw it in the stack of stories, again, I told you I'm not that up on what's going on. I was pretty shocked. Okay, FDA clearances. So there's a wave of FDA clearances, and kind of some interesting technologies that demonstrate maybe the FDA's view on allowing more innovation to make its way to market through the 510K gateway. So the thing that sort of jumped out to me was there's a transcranial device here, Flow Neuroscience, right? It's a at-home brain stimulation device for treating major depressive disorder, delivers a gentle electrical current to the prefrontal cortex. This is one of like 7 different things that they've got here.
That works. I mean, I don't know that particular device, but the methodology works.
The technology works. So it's positive news for the FDA, right? I mean, I think of the 3 main branches, they felt the most dysfunctional, quite frankly, just because of all the staff churn that they've had. They're out, they're in. Like it just hasn't felt very clear, but. Putting a wave of technology out on the market that's a good sign.
If they can start approving a lot of 510K devices, and then they had one de novo device here, that would be really positive. Just to whatever your politics are, it'd be great to get new technology out in the field.
Well, it's gonna re-enable capital, right? I mean, this has been. I would not call this a good 5 years for deep tech and biotech in healthcare.
Yeah.
From the capital markets perspective, right? I mean, hasn't been good on the IPO side. And it's not good on the IPO side. This stuff requires a big payday on the other side because the front end is so capital intensive. So at least clearing the pathway, can kind of grease the skids a little bit. Okay, going to payers. Highmark posts $24.6 billion in revenue through Q3 as utilization pressures persist. So the bottom line on that, though, is they reported a $69 million net loss and a $204 million operating loss alongside that revenue through the first 9 months of 2025. And the bulk of that loss came from the health insurance unit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they publish it, but MLR utilization is high. It's up. And they haven't been able to ratchet pricing to keep up. Even though prices are coming up significantly, the cost to deliver care is coming up faster. And so all the payers, I mean, Highmark is just the latest one, they're all struggling with that.
Yep. UnitedHealthcare to hold off on remote patient monitoring policies. So when we reported on this initially, you were like, I have no idea how this works. How does this work, right? Yeah. And perhaps it doesn't work. I mean, or at least they're going to hold off because they probably got a lot of attention.
Got a ton of pushback.
Yeah, they probably got a lot of attention for this one, right?
Yeah, so they haven't really backed down on their assertion that remote patient monitoring, except for a very small number of...
There's heart failure and like one other thing.
Yes. They haven't really backed down on their belief that it's not useful, but they have delayed implementation of, not paying for it anymore.
Yeah, it's not going to start Jan 1.
Right. Yes.
Right. So we'll see if there's a follow-up story on this or if it just kind of quietly goes away.
Yeah.
It
could more likely to quietly go away.
It could be that it just quietly goes away. Yeah. Kaiser pulls plans from the Georgia Insurance Exchange, but this is not the typical pulling out of a market story. In this case, it reads, this is a little bit of a confusing article here from Modern Healthcare. I don't know if I totally got this right, so the disclaimer on that. But it reads to me like the demand for the Kaiser brand in Georgia, Kaiser's got a great brand, the demand for the brand was so strong that Georgia working with Kaiser basically determined they wouldn't be able to fulfill the demand. There was a capacity question. And so they made them withdraw many of the plans. And they also seem to have held off new enrollees into several of the plans. The only plans that are still staying are 4 silver plans and 2 gold plans, no bronze plans. So that tells me the bronze was really an area where they probably had a ton of interest, and it was just going to kind of topple the group. Yeah,
I don't know if there is a requirement for a certain number of providers by specialty, or I don't know. I don't know how one determines that they don't have sufficient capacity. That's what it says in the article. Okay. But they could hire people, or they could do something different, or use other providers in the state already.
Yeah.
Presumably these members are going to go to another payer and still need the same care from that specialist in Georgia. So I don't know. It's an interesting story.
And New York State, not city, doles out $300 million to fund health IT, hospital cybersecurity projects. So New York health systems have really suffered from cybersecurity attacks. We need to start there. This feels like a wise investment choice from the state to support these various systems. Montefiore was one. Richmond University Medical Center in Staten Island is one. But then, there's Brooklyn Hospital Center gets $33 million to implement Epic. I don't know how much I love that one.
I'm not sure how much Epic EHR is really a cyber thing.
No, it's not.
It's not. So they just bundled that in, hey, here's $30 million.
Right. The Montefiore cybersecurity project, that's yes, 100%, do that one. But I don't know, I'm a little sore because, we had a portfolio company that we decided to wrap up, and I think the deciding factor was that Medicaid rates in New York for ABA services, were being threatened to be cut down 45% next year. And it just was this is just not viable anymore,
And a lot of the talk track around, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it was we're not getting support from the federal government. We don't have any money.
Yeah.
But then they have $300 million for cyber.
For Judy Faulkner.
Right, yes. So I agree it's good to support cybersecurity. I think every state has had issues with it. So
yes, agree.
New York certainly has, but everyone has.
Agree. Going on to pharma, GSK gets FDA approval for new severe asthma drug with a dosing advantage.
Yeah, so this is a twice-a-year shot, which is a huge dosing advantage and obviously helps compliance. Positive. Severe asthma is can be debilitating. It can limit your ability to participate in life, and so I think that's great.
Yeah. Look. I asthma is pretty scary.
Yeah.
I've got family members that have it. I've got dear friends that have it, and it's a scary one. So I always want to see new innovation on this front. Cencora is going to acquire a majority stake in OneOncology for $5 billion. So OneOncology, really strong oncology platform nationwide. Jeff Patton's the CEO, so this is a Nashville based deal. OneOncology is sort of a friend of the Scott Hamilton Cares Foundation I'm on the board of. They have a great partnership with Ascension, St. Thomas. Yeah. So I think these guys are great. I don't know, is it Cencora or Cencora?
I don't know how you pronounce it.
Okay.
It's the old AmerisourceBergen.
It's AmerisourceBergen.
But I don't know how they want us to pronounce it. I like Cencora. I think that sounds good.
Okay, great. So we're going to call them Cencora. They can always let us know if they don't agree. So I believe it doesn't say it in this article, but this is like a little bit of like industry inside baseball. I believe Jason Dinger, who used to lead Mission Point and is now at Cencora doing strategic leadership work, probably had something to do with this. You know what I mean? His knowledge of this market and those guys, I think probably had something to do with this. He's a smart guy. He's a real smart guy.
And it's a great deal for Cencora.
It's a great asset. No, One Oncology is a great asset, you know, and I think they've got well, I hate to say they've got a bright future because, you know, that just means cancer. We're not that close yet.
But unfortunately, there's a lot of time with a lot of cancer.
That's right. But they do a good job. They do a good job with it. You're getting better at that.
Yeah. I can hear him coming now.
Okay, JPMorgan steps further into crypto with tokenized money funds. So this new private fund will run on the Ethereum blockchain. Surprise, surprise, everyone's running all their funds on the Ethereum blockchain and be available to qualified investors. It's a $100 million money fund.
Yeah, I mean, I think every week it feels like JPMorgan is rolling out a new thing, and everyone's going to follow them. I mean, all of Wall Street's going to be tokenized.
Yeah, and it's nothing, it's press release stuff because $100 million for JPMorgan is just like that's literally like a few dollars you and I have in our pockets, right? I mean,
well, they seeded it with their own money, $100 million, so they can then sell it, and it's already in existence. That's how they set it up,
right? But I'm saying $100 million to them is nothing. It's nothing to them,
and they're just moving $100 million out of one account into this account,
correct?
So they can sell it. And at the same time, I think a lot of people are going to buy it.
Of course. Yeah. Well, the first buyers are going to be crypto people.
Yeah,
because they just want to gin the thing up. There's actually before we go on, is there more on the crypto side?
Yeah, one more.
So Coinbase joins with Kalshi to enter the surging prediction markets. So Coinbase had their big reveal of the next sort of chapter in their business, and it's Coinbase, like everybody, is going to be the everything app, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and they've been on a M&A spree, as we know. They bought the tokenizing platform where you can do IPOs. Yeah. They've got Base, which is a social network that sits on top of Farcaster. Now they're partnering with Kalshi. I mean, they're trying to keep time on site very, very high.
Yeah.
But I think related to that is I was listening to it today on the Blockworks Empire show. There's a guy who wrote Dougie DeLuca. This guy, he's at one of these pretty well-respected crypto VC firms. And he wrote this story, he wrote a piece on Twitter called Crypto is Dead. And the premise is basically that the era of crypto being this insular market where everything is done for crypto native people is over because it's tapped out. It's not, that market is not going to grow anymore. And so it's time for crypto to basically become effectively invisible. You know what I mean? Just be part of the products that people love every single day. And, it's you don't talk about what
it's TCP/IP. I mean, I don't know how it works, but we're using it right now.
That's right.
We use it all the time.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And the piece, which was a little bit of a risk, right? Because you're talking about crypto natives. And it turned out that he really said the quiet part out loud. And everybody in the crypto industry was yes.
Right.
Because they're all why is the price action so bad, right? Bitcoin right now is in 83,000. Yeah. Why is everything so bad right now? And the answer is because it's just kind of tapped out. You know what I mean? You're not gonna, you and I both have Farcaster accounts. We were on there. Farcaster's actually going into a wallet mode. They're not even focused on social networks anymore.
I mean, for a long time, people were just talking about their coin that they were shilling to try to make money. Mm-hmm. And I'm not opposed to making money. I'm a VC, but it's just not that exciting. Unless I own the coin, I don't care if it goes to the moon or not to the moon.
That's right. Yeah.
You have to have actual use for it to be crossover.
Correct. And I think where that circle back to this Coinbase Kalshi story, it's prediction markets have proven to be an actual real world use case that is working for crypto. It's legitimately working in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And people like it. People like doing it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I think it's correct. There needs to be more of that. And, my hope is that we can, once we do some other more foundational work, that we can be a part of the very long process of figuring out how tokenizing health will eventually come to be, right? It's so far from being real today, right? So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of convening and a lot of discussion before there's real product building, because I think it's a problem that requires thought, but you can squint and see into the future and feel pretty confident that at some point, healthcare is going to run with blockchains underneath it. You know, but it's like when, where, why, what's the right beachhead? Like all those things are totally unclear today.
Yeah, the interface and the revenue model, to me, are the two things that like make it okay. Gambling, people are going to want to gamble. Yes, we know what the interface is with DraftKings and FanDuel, and we know it. And there's a clear revenue model. They're willing to pay 3%, 5% VIG to do it.
Right.
And that's obvious. The reason I think we cover JPMorgan and Wall Street is there's a revenue model interface there too. Like they are spending a lot more money doing money market funds and things the old-fashioned way on the old shitty rails.
Yeah.
And it's just like TCP. They're gonna plug in crypto, whether it's Ethereum or Solana, it doesn't even matter. They're gonna plug in something, and my mom's gonna put money in a money market account. And she doesn't know or care what the rails are.
Right.
All she knows is this one charged me less fees.
Right.
So Wall Street, I think, also has. I can see that healthcare doesn't have either. I don't know what the interface is. I know how bad the interfaces are in the industry right now, but we haven't figured out what the right interface is, and there's also not a revenue model yet. So we have to figure that out.
Yeah, it's a long way away, but it's worth continuing to track.
Yeah.
All right, AI rundown. The political skirmish over Trump's AI order is just the beginning. So, the fundamental issue with the AI order is that it is federal and nationwide, and it limits states' rights. And that's kind of counter to so many of the things that this administration and the Supreme Court has been ushering in, during this last, this last 12 months. And so you can understand fundamentally why this is another kind of infighting issue amongst the Republicans. But I think also there's a jobs issue there, right? I mean, I think that that's real. I think that on the populist side, people are looking at this AI thing and they're looking at this rising unemployment and they're looking at, the dwindling prospects, and it just feels kind of dystopian. And I don't think it's going to be that popular in a populist era of politics.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we just talked about it, right? Like with crypto, and AI is the same. Like it doesn't have use cases that help the everyday person at the same level that the fear is. Right? Like, there's all this fear about loss of jobs. I haven't seen it really manifest yet. There was a story that I didn't bring talking about the job creation of AI. And there's just anecdotes on both sides. There's lots of noise around it, but we really haven't seen it come in and change our life in a huge way for everyday people.
Right.
And so there's a lot of fear around the country, and the White House just saying like David Sachs and Howard Lutnick are going to decide this and it will be the best for everyone. That not everyone's totally comfortable with that. A lot of Republican governors are not comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. Never mind Democratic governors and senators and House representatives who kind of think it's their job to do policy. I don't know. There's a lot of people that don't like it. I think it is true that 50 states fighting over AI policy would be chaos for bringing products to market. And at the same time, the states experimenting with lots of different things and then bubbling up what works has worked for 250 years. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. I'm not sure AI is that different than electricity. But anyway, that's the debate. And so Trump, like he always does, is just jumping out in front and doing an executive order and trying to ignore all the talking on both sides.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there's just so much chatter right now about whether or not we are in an AI bubble. It scares the crap out of people because of how much of the American economy is now wrapped up in, the 7 companies and then some satellite companies that sort of
is it the
sit around
economy
them.
or the stock market?
Well, I think they're pretty much the same.
I don't know if they're the same, but yes, that people.
The
stock market is certainly 7 to 10 companies.
Well, let me just say it this way. When you look at tourism, okay, and you look at hotels around the country, the only place where revenue per available room is like growing and doing well is luxury.
Yeah.
Like, I think the spending is so concentrated amongst the asset holding, members of society, that if it corrects significantly, like, we're going to see a real downturn in the economy in a way that, like, I think it would actually shock us. It's like, who's going to restaurants, right? Who's traveling, who's, spending all this money in grocery stores, who's doing these things? It's people with assets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who are not getting killed out here. And so, it's not a one-to-one to the economy, but it's holding things together.
Yeah.
It's holding things together, and I
think that makes sense. So for the top part of the K, definitely, if your stock market portfolio is up, you spend more money.
Yeah,
There's
they're
no question
employing
about that.
people that, right?
So maybe it's 10% of the population, but it's 70% of the spend.
It's a significant percentage of spend. It's a significant percentage of spend, right? And so I think that we're in this really weird place where everyone knows it's not hype cycle, right? Everyone knows the technology is real, but now we're starting to have more thoughtful conversations, like, how long is it going to take for businesses to actually absorb this stuff, right? It's like, we started this whole conversation talking about, like, every day, if you're on X, it's just unbelievable how fast this stuff is moving. Well, guess what? Businesses cannot adopt things that move that fast. It's just not, you can't wrap a change management cycle around a technology that literally, and look, here's one of the big problems is, like, okay, we're going to talk about Google releasing Gemini Flash 3, right? And the problem is, Flash 3 does not work like 2.5 did.
Right.
It's like literally, like, it's quote unquote better, but it's also different.
Right.
Like,
yes, all your prompts, all your things you had designed over the last 12 months that 2.5 was using need to be changed.
It's not stable ground.
Right.
And you think about the way that software used to work, right? It's like, okay, you had this feature set and they would add features, and I mean, it would be a big deal if a feature got deprecated. Yeah. Right? Because, oh man, they took this away. I used to do this.
Right.
Now, all the time, your features are deprecated. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, that paradigm's old. Now we do this, And so this idea of, okay, it's going to steal jobs, but if businesses can't absorb it, if businesses can't adopt it, if businesses can't operationalize it, is it going to steal jobs, or is it just going to be like this really, really cool parlor trick that a couple of early stage companies like ours can really leverage because they got the time and the space to do it, but like the Fortune 5000 can't do it, right? Because that's where the real job loss and the real market capture will happen, not at the early stage.
Yeah, the early stage doesn't employ enough people.
That's what I mean.
Right, yeah. So I guess that's the debate.
That's the debate.
I mean,
yeah.
And I think to me, it's a time horizon debate.
Yes.
I don't think you or I would debate whether AI will be brought into the Fortune 5000. It's just a question of, is it going to be happening in the next 12 months, 5 years, or 20 years?
And who do they choose?
And what do you mean by that?
I mean, the enterprise doesn't play like as technologists, venture guys, builders, we all use multiple AIs, right? Yeah. You're using Manus and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, what task determines what thing we're going to use, right?
Right.
The enterprise doesn't work that way. They pick a vendor, they go big, they put it in procurement, and they deploy it out to everybody. And what they're finding right now is, okay, well, of course, they're going to go with Microsoft because they already have a long-standing relationship with Microsoft, but Copilot's not that good.
Right.
And the usage on Copilot is very low.
Yeah.
It's like people aren't using it.
Yeah.
So that's
right. But that's
you asked me what do I mean when I said, like, who are they going to choose? That's what I mean. Like, what vendor are they going to? They're not going to change that fundamental procurement model. they're going to pick a vendor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar to the sort of integration of the internet into the economy. And for a while, there were companies that were sort of internet only or web forward. And then you had some Fortune 5000 companies that had an internet strategy. And then eventually it's just part of the business. And I think there's the same sort of adoption curve. The question is, how long does it take?
No. So I understand why that's an attractive analogy, but the internet was open. I mean, you said it earlier, TCP/IP.
Yeah.
It's open standard. AI is not, it's not universally open as a protocol.
Yeah.
Right? These models are built in labs and shipped. Whether they're open source or open weight or corporately driven, it's not an open universal protocol that the whole world uses. So it's like you can't say AI is like the internet in that way, right? AI is a step change technology like the internet, but it doesn't exist. We don't engage with it like the internet.
That's interesting. So that's I think a point where we disagree. So my belief is that inference at whatever time horizon begins to show a lot of adoption. So say it is 5 years, just to pick the middle time that I picked, but we can, the time horizon is the debate, I think. But when we get to that adoption, I think inference is going to be very common and not much difference between them. Now, there will be frontier markets, but I don't know. I think, my opinion is right now, I can't use all the capacity of any of the models I use. It's not the capacity of their ability to deliver intelligence that is my problem.
Yeah, I think you wave something away as small that's not small.
Okay, what is that I waved away?
You said not much difference between them, and I'm saying HTTP is HTTP is HTTP.
Yeah.
And nobody pays anybody for HTTP. Pay for bandwidth, but even the bandwidth is universally the same because it's fiber leveraging the same universal protocol. Like the minute you say not that different, it's different. Like it's different. Okay. And so that difference creates friction. It's like little friction. And at scale, that little friction becomes static. And so that's the thing. Like internet is frictionless. It's like zero friction. That's what you get because of the W3C having a universal protocol. We don't have that, right? These things roll out all the time. They're changing all the time. You know what's more like the internet? Bitcoin is more like the internet. Doesn't change very often. It's one protocol, right?
Bitcoin or crypto broadly?
Bitcoin specifically. The other ones, no, they change too much. They've got these roadmaps and they're doing all these things and they're not in a class of their own, so they feel more.
It's interesting. That's kind of why the X402 thing is kind of interesting because it is a standard.
Because it is a standard. Yeah. So X402 is interesting, right?
Yeah.
But no. Bitcoin is more of an enduring universal protocol, and I think that's why it stands apart from everything else in crypto, which is like I'm proof of work, proof of stake. Like even Ethereum, and I love Ethereum, but like it doesn't have that like grounded. Like I'm not going to change.
Bitcoin can't change it really. Like. There's no one to change it.
This is what I'm saying.
That's how the internet is.
And the devs won't let you.
Right.
The devs won't let you.
Yeah. What do you think about like maybe it's similar to the cloud capacity? I mean, like, I just think that the models are so smart right now. I'm using 5% of it. Like, as they get better and better, it's not going to matter whether I use the latest version or some other version.
You're not an enterprise person. I guess that's what I'm saying. You're not the right person to answer this. Like what you're saying is right for you,
Yeah.
And
but
right
not
for me,
for, I don't know.
Sam Hazen.
Yes, right. HCA. Yeah.
It's not right for Sam Hazen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the point I'm trying to make. And that's the going back to this article, AI themed stocks take more hits, sending the NASDAQ lower, right? This is the problem. It's like everyone is realizing none of these guys have a moat. None of these guys have any meaningful differentiation, but the underlying technology is like, it's unstable. It's unstable, You can't be like, okay, here it is. It's solid ground. Now I'm going to build the next version of my business on it. Doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. That's definitely true.
Yeah. That's the problem. The internet is stable ground. Bitcoin is stable ground. Like these things are like, they're not changing, man. They're going to be there. So I think that's kind of the point,
Okay. Well, I had these two stories. The Wall Street Journal is talking about both of them. In the first one, Oracle, NVIDIA, and Tesla were down this week.
Yeah.
And my bias is I think all three of those companies are pretty strongly positioned.
I agree.
And then CoreWeave is the next story. They had a couple of construction delays due to rain, and a short seller sort of grabbed that and has been attacking them.
Yeah.
And my opinion is that the rain delays is ridiculous. But they weren't a good company before that, and they're still not a good company. So they were sensitive to that.
They are more reflective. They were early and they were fast, and they got out. Meaning they IPO'd.
Right.
They got out fast, right? But now that these questions are starting to settle in, And we're gonna have, the thing is, we're gonna have more time for these questions to settle in. So I agree with you, right? Like the Oracles, the NVIDIAs of the world, was Tesla, the other one. It's like they have so much underlying value to them, even NVIDIA, right? So much underlying value to them that like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened the week of December 18th in the market around this bubble thing.
Yeah, I view it as a buying opportunity. Like if it goes down, okay, I'm in it for 10 years.
100%.
Yeah.
But CoreWeave
was an arbitrage. I mean, they had access to NVIDIA chips because NVIDIA was a shareholder, and other people didn't have access.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
That's all they had.
Yes.
And that's not sustainable.
No.
And yes, these guys are celebrating at the IPO. That's the picture, but then they're down a bunch, and
there's going to be so much competition.
Yes.
And like, how do they differentiate?
They can't. They don't.
Because you've already got the different, like NVIDIA is not even unassailable like they were before, right? I mean, we got Google, really pushing out later versions of their TPU.
Yeah.
We got Amazon in the game. So
Google, I didn't bring it because it was too techy, but Google and Meta are working on PyTorch, like a new open source version of PyTorch to use the TPUs.
Yeah, of course.
Because they want to compete with CUDA.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right, OpenAI is in talks to raise $10 billion from Amazon and use its chips. So, everyone talks about the circular deals here, and listen, I don't care about that part. I think what is far more interesting is how there's really no exclusive relationships, man. It's like everybody is doing a deal with everybody. It's like, don't get caught up thinking OpenAI is only with Microsoft. No way. Don't get caught up thinking Amazon's only with Anthropic, like just because that's who they were.
2 days ago, I thought Google and Meta were not friendly. And all of a sudden they're working together because
everyone's willing to work with everybody. That to me,
which is a great thing.
That's
really
the story that I'm like, I don't understand why more people aren't looking at that and saying this is so different. It's like to me, that's the hallmark that we're playing a very different game than we've ever played. And like, do I trust the Wall Street people who are just trying to financialize and price this stuff, or do I trust the people who are like actually on the ground building out the next generation of the craziest technology I've ever seen in my life? To me, that's the thing. It's like, I don't care about Wall Street people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's I'm not a trader. I think that's the thing. I'm not a trader, so I don't even care about that stuff. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that we now have chips from NVIDIA, Google, and Amazon, and then quickly Intel and AMD and other people are coming on. I mean, that's what's good about the market economy. If someone is having 90% market share and growing at 200% a year, everyone else dusts off their chip design and starts putting effort into it.
Right. All right, 2 more stories. First one is that Google says its new Gemini 3 Flash AI model is better and faster than 2.5 Pro. So Flash is like the lightweight model.
It's the less expensive, fast model.
Yes. Right. And they're saying that 3 Flash is now faster than 2.5 Pro. That shouldn't have been that surprising because that's the brand. That's the brand.
That's a given. It should definitely be that.
But they're saying that it's not just faster. And this is exactly what I mean, right? Like, you can't even trust the brand promise with these models. That's how fast they're evolving, right? Like,
they don't know.
There's a pro. They don't know.
They show benchmarks here in this article, and that's not important to me. Like, does my set of 15 prompts that I'm having our chief of staff, Jess, work on, is it going to work with 3 Flash? I don't know. And they certainly didn't test it. They have no way to test it. It's generative. It's just going to do what it does. We'll have to adjust.
Yeah. They train it,
right?
They release it, and then they learn about it,
and they test it against the benchmarks. And fine. But that's different than, like, whatever.
Right.
College math is not what Jess and I are working on.
No. All right, final story. OpenAI is working with the Department of Energy in a memorandum of understanding to accelerate science with artificial intelligence.
So I know why OpenAI wants to do this, and it's great. They're helping DOE figure out new approaches to energy, new ways to create energy, distribute energy. I think that's great. It's not clear why the Department of Energy would work with them. Maybe it's not exclusive. It's just an MOU.
Yeah, no one's doing anything exclusive.
Yeah. So it's good. And, we have in Tennessee, there's Oak Ridge National Lab. Mm-hmm. It's a huge DOE site. And so there's a lot of cool stuff there that could really be benefited from large language models, making it better, making connections. All that stuff will be great.
Yeah, I mean, this is so I like this as a final story, especially against the backdrop of all the AI bubble fears, right? Mm-hmm. Because, like, this is the real story here, right? I think because we are at a point where I think most of the AI scientists have effectively communicated to us the limits of LLMs. I think people now realize it's highly unlikely LLMs are going to result in AGI, because they're just these predictive token machines, right? Mm-hmm. So, but how many things can they advance, right? How many things can they actually advance? And how much change do those advancements bring to society? And how much destruction of economic value does that result in, right? Like those questions are the ones I think are far more likely than the idea that AI is going to be a bubble. You know what I mean? To me, it's far more likely someone's going to come out and be like, I just figured out this thing, and literally a whole industry is like, done. And it doesn't matter whether or not that industry knows how to use AI or adopts it or gets their change management heads around it or procurement understands how to buy it, because they're done. Their entire value to society is done. That, like, to me, that's so much more likely. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't see how, like, if you've again, because I was a coder, to me that's my experience, and I'm like, this thing is better than I ever was as a coder, and it's not remotely close. Like,
and it doesn't get tired. I mean,
I was never the best coder. I understand that, but let me just say this: the delta between me and the best coder, and the delta between me and Claude Code, is not remotely close.
Right.
Claude Code is way better than the best coder. Now there's still coders out there working. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but like, we're just washing through this. We're washing through the process of people realizing the reality about this. It's gonna take a minute. You know, but I just look at that as an analog, and then I look at something like this with the DOE. You know, not education but energy, and I just go, man. I mean, I think that.
I mean, energy is the bottleneck. So it's great that we're using the technology to empower scientists like this, and it's the place where we'll lose to China. I mean, it's as simple as that. If we don't figure out the energy bottleneck, China has a huge advantage over us. And if we do figure it out, we're going to kill them. And so it's great that DOE is working with OpenAI. Hopefully, they're working with anyone that wants to work with them.
I think they are.
Yeah,
I think they are because we already know the government launched with Google Gemini.
Yeah,
There's just no exclusivity.
Yeah,
there's no exclusivity. Right?
Yeah, our friend that's looking at FDA, they're using an Anthropic derivative at FDA.
Yeah, there we go. Everyone's using everything, and David Sachs doesn't like Anthropic, and the FDA is using it.
Right.
So you know what I mean? It's just like doesn't matter. Okay, man. Good show.
I'm out next week.
Yeah. And I think we should take a break next week.
Yeah.
I think we should take a break next week. So, look, I don't know. Maybe we could talk to Aaron about splicing something together for us. But this is probably our last live show of the year.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's been a good one.
Yeah. It's been a lot going on this year.
Man, it's been a lot going on this year. I got to tell you, I'm really excited about next year.
Yeah.
I think next year a lot of things come together. You know, we're not dealing with so much of the churn from Trump. You know, like I feel like that playbook is basically laid out. We pretty much know what's going on there. I think that crypto is positioned to have a breakout year next year for a bunch of reasons. One of them being global liquidity, another one being the rates are going to get cut. So I think that's a big deal. AI as a general principle, I think is going to be, you know, pretty incredible next year. Like, look at what we had this year, and you just think about like a whole nother year building on top of this foundation. I just think it's going to be ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty exciting, and clearly, healthcare is like a mess, and so there's going to be a lot of
plenty to do in healthcare.
Plenty to do in our space, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think that AI and crypto are going to come together next year in an interesting way. Like, crypto's hard to work with because there's a lot of detail and it's super complicated. And I think AI is well suited to be kind of an overlay that can help with that. Yeah, and then I agree with you about the rates. I think we're going to have a few months of inflation coming down, and then we're going to get a new Fed chair. And the only thing I know that Trump will do is pick a Fed chair that at least says he's going to cut rates all year into the midterms. And so I think we're going to have declining inflation, job fears, and a bunch of rate cuts right when Wall Street's going like into crypto Web3, and there's an AI overlay that we can understand it and not leave like big gaps and vulnerabilities, which is a concern in crypto because it's complicated. So yeah, I'm very bullish about it.
I think, and you know, we have midterms. Who knows what's going to happen? But right now, it looks like you know, I mean, Republicans will lose the House. Looks like, and so that'll slow down some of the, you know, intensity of
which
of things.
We need to take a breath.
We need a breath. We need a breath. So. I think 2026 is pretty exciting. I think at Jumpstart it's going to be an exciting year for us too. Yeah, you know, we got new funds going online. You know, you're about to close some new deals. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we might have some new announcements in the first quarter.
I think we will. I think we will. Yeah. All right, man. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.